Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Mr. Montgomery, and we are doing something so similar to last time, except it's expanded. So it's going to be much more detailed. But I actually think this stuff is really fun. I know I say that a lot, but I really do think this is very fun and interesting to do in math. So let's review what we did on last week. So I'm going to make a quick part whole um, method in this chart, and then we're going to go through it really quick. Okay, so you don't have to go through or draw this out. I'm going to use very simple numbers to start explaining the concept that we're doing today, and then we're going to go into much bigger, more fun numbers after I go through this very quick explanation. So real quick, how many circles do I have drawn in this first box? Well, we can see I have 4 circles. So that's one part. How many circles do I have in the other part? I have 3. Now what is 4 plus 3? Well, we know that 4 plus 3 is 7. Now if we want to use these 3 numbers and put them into a number sentence, there's so many ways we can do this. And that's why we have so many different number sentences all lined up here for us to use. We can actually make 4 different kinds of number sentences, which is really cool because this is a fact family. When we have 3 numbers that work together so 2 parts that make a whole, right? And then you could rearrange those numbers to make a subtraction related fact. They're actually a fact family. So that's a term we're going to be using a lot now from now on. So you don't have to write these number sentences down. I'm just going to show you exactly what I mean real quick, and then we're going to do way more fun numbers. So 4 plus 3 is 7, right? We know that's one way we can show a number sentence with these 3 numbers. 4 plus 3 is 7. But there's another way we can write an addition sentence with these numbers, which is 3 plus 4 equals 7. Because when we're adding, it never matters what order we go in. I've said this before many times. When you add, it doesn't matter which order the numbers are in. For the 2 parts, the parts don't matter what order. When we subtract, that's when it always matters. So real quick, how would we make a subtraction sentence with these 3 numbers? Well, first, we have to put the 7 first. The big total has to go first. And then we could actually use either part, and I'm going to show you exactly why. We kind of talked about it last week a little bit, but now we'll be able to see everything all laid out in front of us. So first, let's start with 3. 7 minus 3. Well, we use 7, right? Check. We use 3 twice. Check. And so that means the answer has to be 4 because they're a fact family. They all work together. But what if I wanted to make a different subtraction sentence? Well, we start off with the same total, right? 7, the whole number. And what if I want to use the 4 first? Well, let's go through it. Did we use 7 twice? Yep. Check. Did we use 4 twice? Yep. Check. And the last number would have to be 3, because that's the only number we didn't use in this fact family. We're just making some fun addition, subtraction sentences using the same 3 numbers over and over. Now let me clear this off, and we're going to use some bigger fun numbers. Okay, so I have some bigger, more fun numbers now. Let's see what these numbers are. Well, in the first box, I have 6. And in the second box, we have 7. And real quick, let's figure out what is 6 and 7 put together. Well, 6 and 7 put together is actually 13. So, we know what the part part, and whole are, now we can use these three numbers to make a fact family. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's make a addition sentence first with these three numbers. Well, we can use 6 first, and 7 second, and then our answer would be 13. But what's another way we can use 6 and 7 to make 13? Well, all we're going to do is switch the order, because the order can go either way. So we can use the 7 first, and then the 6 second. And guess what? They still make the same number, which gives us 13. So all we did was crisscross them. That's it. That's all we did. Now let's make a subtraction sentence with these three numbers, which means what? What's the first thing we have to do? Well, I'm hoping that you're all saying, well, Mr. Montgomery, we have to take this 13 because it's the total and it has to go first. Always, always, always goes first. So 13 goes first, and what number can go second? Well, either one, really. We can put either number to go next. Because we have 13 used, check. And you know what? Let's be crazy and use 6. Okay, now that we use 6 twice, that can be checked off. Boop. And what about the answer? What would the answer be? Well, since we know that we're just using the same 3 numbers over and over in different orders, we know that the answer has to be the number we didn't use yet, which is 7. Has to be 7. And there you go. But how could we make another subtraction sentence? Because there's always 4 different number sentences we can make with any fact family. All right? So it's going to start off the same way. We have to start with the total. And then what number would go next to make a different one? Well, we would put the 7 next. And then, if we have 13 minus 7, so we have 13 used twice, check. We have 7 used twice, check. And that means our answer would have to be the number we didn't use yet, which is 6. There we go. 13 minus 7 equals 6. Now let's use some different numbers. All right. I'm actually using much bigger numbers now to make this just a little bit more challenging. So that way, when we do this on our own later, we're going to have no problem. All right. So real quick, let's figure out how many dots are in each section. So for our first block, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So we have 9. How many do we have on for our second part? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we have 8 on this part. And what is 9 plus 8? I'll give you a second to fill in the top part there for 9 plus 8. Well, 9 plus 8 is 17. We actually use the doubles minus 1 fact, right? So we know 9 plus 9 is 18, but 8 is 1 less. So 1 less than 18 is 17. And let's make an addition fact with these. So we can make 2 different addition facts, right? Let's go ahead and do them. First, we can just take the order that we see them in by going from left to right. So first, we can do 9 plus 8. And what is 9 plus 8? Well, we just figured out that 9 plus 8 is 17. But what is the other order that we could write this addition fact? Well, we can just crisscross them, right? crisscross them, because when we add, the order doesn't matter. We can put them in either order and we will get the same answer. So 9 plus 8 equals 17. So that means that 8 plus 9 equals 17. See, nothing crazy. And now let's make some subtraction facts. What's the first thing we have to do when we write a subtraction-related fact with the same three numbers? Well, we have to, of course, take this big total and drop it off in front. It has to stand in front because it is the big number. So 17 minus what? Well, we could take either one, right? Because they're a fact family. As long as we use all three numbers once, it doesn't matter which order they go in for the parts. So as long as we have that big total first for subtraction, the parts can go in either order. So 17 minus, let's do 9. 17 minus 9, we use 17 twice, check. We use 9 twice, and check. And so that means that the only number we didn't use yet is 8. So that means the answer has to be 8. So if you guys see, you don't even have to use your fingers, because as long as you already know what all the numbers that you're using for the first addition fact, we're just reusing them. So you don't have to think, oh man, what is 17 minus 9? Because the answers are already right above. Done. And what's another way we can write a subtraction fact? Well, we can make sure that 17 is first. Instead of using a 9, we can use the 8. Okay, so we use 17 twice. And check. We used 8 twice. Oh, check. So that means the answer has to be the number we did not use yet, which is 9. So you guys, this is nothing crazy. We're just reusing the same three numbers in different ways to make different number sentences. So now open up your packets to the next page. All right, I'll give everyone a quick couple seconds to open up to the next page. All right, so let's look at this first one. Okay, so they're already showing us that. Oh, okay, so this looks a little scary, I know. Don't worry, because as long as we know all the parts in the whole, we got this. They have it looking backwards, but that's okay, because we're still using the same numbers. So what they did here is they took the total first and want to show you what parts it can break into. So the total is 14. They tell us that in the chart right here. 14. Boom. That is going to be the first number. Now they want to know, what parts can this be broken down into? Well, let's look at our chart. On this side, we have 6 yellow dots. And on this side, we have 6, 7, 8 red dots. Okay, so the two parts this can be broken down into is 6 plus 8. Even though this looks different, 14 equals 6 plus 8 is the exact same thing as writing 6 plus 8 equals 14. It is the same exact thing. Mathematicians like to throw numbers around in different ways, but it's okay. It looks different, but it means the same thing. I promise it means the same thing. Well, let's write another way we can break this 14 down into two numbers because they're a fact family. They all work together, right? So 14 is not only broken down into 6 plus 8, but it can also be said that 14 equals 8 plus 6. Okay? See how, just like before, we just flip-flopped where the numbers go. That's all. And we're doing the same thing for the subtraction part of our fact families. So the 14 has to go first, right? Because this is the same thing as saying 14 minus 6 equals 8. I know it looks really goofy. I know, guys. I'm sorry they wrote it like this. Um, on the next page, I promise it gets much easier and it goes back to how we were doing it before. So we would want this 14 first. Think about it as just being written like this. That's all. So 14 minus 6, because that is our one part, would equal 8, because we're just using the same three numbers. That's all we're doing. And then for this other part, it would be, let's do that 14 first again so we never forget. 14 minus 8 would just equal 6. We flip-flop these parts around. That's it. Go ahead and try number 2 all on your own. I know you might have a little trouble with how the subtraction part is written. That's okay, because we're mostly going to concentrate on writing it the way we did on the first page that we worked on together. But go ahead and try number 2 on your own. I'll give you guys a minute, and we'll go over it together. All right, I think that was enough time. Let's start going over this together. If you didn't finish all the subtraction parts, it's okay. But let's go over this together because I don't want this to take too long. So let's think about the addition one, the easy part. Okay, we all know that the answer is going to be 16, and we want to see what two parts it can get broken down into. So let's see what they gave us on our chart. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 yellow dots. That's our first part. And then we have 7 red dots. So we could say 16 equals 9 plus 7. Okay? And now let's write the other way we could break this down into an addition fact. We could say that 16 equals, well, remember, we're just going to flip-flop these around, equals 7 plus 9. And now comes the tricky part with this, the subtraction. We have to write this big total number right there on this space. I'm just going to write that for both real quick so I don't accidentally make a mistake. So 16 minus, well, let's say 9 first. 16 minus 9, what would be on the other side of this equal sign if it's 16 minus 9? Well, we use 16 twice, right? Check. We use 9 twice. Check. So the answer has to be 7 because we didn't use 7 yet. So check. Now, if we flip these two around, it would be 16 minus 7. And we can go back and check these off again and make sure that we used all three right numbers. 16, did we use that twice? Yep, check. Did we use 7 twice? Yep, so check. And so that means the answer has to be 9, because we didn't use 9 yet. All right, guys, the next page, trust me, it's going to be much easier. It's not written backwards like this. So go ahead and try the next page on your own. If you feel really confused because how this was written backwards, if you feel really lost, then come see me and my other friends on the carpet, and we can just keep going over it just a little bit more, because I don't want anyone being confused, okay? So I will talk to you all soon, and have fun.